Have you ever been in the middle of a conversation in English and suddenly your mind just goes completely blank? You know the word in your native language, but the English one just vanishes.
That silence, it can feel like an eternity, can't it? You panic, you stumble, and the conversation just stops. It's a feeling almost every English learner has experienced.
It's the worst. But what if we told you there's a way to handle those moments gracefully? A way to keep the conversation flowing even when you don't have the perfect word?
That's right, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. Welcome everyone to English with Adam. I'm Adam.
And I'm Veronica. We're so glad you're joining us. On this podcast, we try to give you practical tips to help you become a more confident and fluent English speaker.
And today's topic is a big one. It's the art of improvisation. How to think on your feet and speak spontaneously in English, even when you're feeling a little lost for words.
Ooh, I love this topic because it's less about knowing thousands of grammar rules and more about communication strategy, right?
Exactly. Fluency isn't about perfection. It's about connection. And improvisation is the bridge that helps you maintain that connection. So let's dive into our first and maybe most important tip. You need to stop translating in your head.
Okay, I hear this one a lot, but it's so hard. It feels automatic, you know? How do you even begin to break that habit?
It is hard, and it takes conscious effort. Think of it like this. When you translate, your brain is doing two jobs. First, it forms a thought in your native language. Second, it searches for the English equivalent, word for word. It's slow and inefficient.
And that's where the pauses and the uhs come from. Your brain is buffering.
Precisely. The solution is to start small. Try to think in English in very simple situations. For example, when you're making coffee in the morning, narrate it to yourself in your head. Okay, I'm getting the mug, now I'm pouring the water, I need some milk. It sounds silly, but you are building direct neural pathways to English, bypassing the translation step.
That makes so much sense. It's like exercising a muscle. You start with small weights. So instead of trying to have a deep philosophical debate in your head, just label the objects around you.
Yes, that's a perfect start. The goal is to make English the language of your internal monologue, even for just a few minutes a day. It directly combats that blank mind feeling because your brain is already in English mood.
Okay, cool. So tip number 1, think directly in English, starting with simple, everyday thoughts. What's next?
Tip number 2 is to embrace filler phrases. Now, I'm not talking about just saying or constantly. I mean using strategic phrases to buy yourself a few seconds to think.
Oh, like what kind of phrases?
Well, native speakers use them all the time. If someone asks you a question, instead of just silence, you can say, "That's a great question. Let me think about that for a moment." Or, "Well, to be honest," or, "It's funny you should ask that because..."
Right, it fills the silence, but it also sounds supernatural and makes you seem engaged in the conversation. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of thoughtful consideration.
It is. It tells the other person, "I've heard you and I am formulating a response." Another good one is simply repeating part of the question back. If someone asks, "What do you think is the biggest challenge facing the world today?" you can start your answer with, "The biggest challenge facing the world today?" I'd have to say, that little echo gives your brain the time it needs to catch up.
I love that. It's a tool, not a crutch. So tip 2, use filler phrases to give yourself a moment to think. That leads perfectly into the next problem though. What if you have the time, but you just don't have the word?
An excellent question. This brings us to tip number 3, which is one of my favorites. It's a technique called circumlocution.
What now? That sounds complicated.
It sounds more complex than it is. It simply means talking around a word. If you don't know the specific noun, describe it. Use simpler words to paint a picture of the thing you mean.
Okay, can you give an example?
Of course. Let's say you're at a dinner party and you want to ask for a corkscrew, but you've forgotten the word. Panicking and going silent is one option. The circumlocution option is to say, "Could you please pass me that tool? The thing you use to open a bottle of wine?"
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Everyone knows what you mean, the conversation doesn't stop, and someone will probably say, "Oh, the corkscrew? Here you go." And then you've learned the word.
Exactly. It turns a moment of potential failure into a learning opportunity. You can describe what it looks like, what it's used for, or what category it belongs to. It's a kind of fruit, or it's a place where people go to watch movies. It's like playing a game.
Wow, that one feels like a superpower for language learners. So tip 3 is to talk around a word you don't know by describing it. I feel like that would take a lot of pressure off.
It does. It shifts the goal from finding the one perfect word to communicating an idea, which is the whole point of language. Now, for tip number 4, don't be afraid to ask questions.
How does that help with improvising? It seems like you're putting the work back on the other person.
In a way, yes, but it's a natural part of conversation. Asking questions does 2 things. First, it gives you a moment to breathe and listen. While the other person is answering, your brain can relax and prepare for what you want to say next. Second, it keeps you actively engaged.
That's true. People love to talk about themselves and their opinions.
They do. And you can ask clarifying questions too. If you didn't quite understand something, saying, "So, if I understand correctly, you're saying that?" Or, "Could you explain what you mean by that word?" shows you're paying close attention. It's much better than just nodding along when you're lost.
Yeah, I think learners are sometimes afraid to admit they don't understand because they think it makes them look bad. But asking smart questions actually makes you look more engaged and intelligent.
Absolutely. So that's tip 4. Use questions to manage the conversation flow and give yourself time. This leads us to our final tip for today, number 5. Practice in low-stakes environments.
What does low stakes mean in this context?
It means a situation where there's very little pressure or consequence if you make a mistake. A job interview is high stakes. Ordering a coffee, that's low stakes. If you mess up, you might get the wrong kind of milk, but that's it. You can still try again tomorrow.
So you're saying we should look for small, everyday opportunities to improvise?
Yes. Talk to yourself in the car. Leave a voice message for a friend instead of texting. If you play online games, use the voice chat. These are all places where you can practice speaking spontaneously without the fear of a major social failure. You're building up your improvisation muscles in the gym before you go to the championship game.
I love that analogy. Build up your confidence piece by piece. So let's do a quick recap of the 5 tips.
Sounds good. Number 1 was stop translating and start thinking directly in English.
Number 2, use filler phrases to buy yourself some thinking time.
Number 3, use circumlocution. That's talking around the word when you can't remember it.
Number 4, ask questions to stay engaged and control the pace of the conversation.
And finally, number 5, practice these skills in low-stakes, everyday situation.
These are all so practical. It really feels like anyone can start using them today to feel more confident.
That's the idea. Improvisation isn't a magical talent. It's a skill you can learn. And it's what will take your English from sounding like it's from a textbook to sounding natural and fluent.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode of English with Adam. We hope you found these tips helpful.
If you did, we'd love it if you could take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us reach more learners just like you.
And we want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell us which of these tips you're going to try first. Or introduce yourself. We love getting to know our listeners.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Keep practicing, and we'll talk to you in the next episode.